Hello and welcome. In Chapter 2 of Rob Nixon's work, Slow Violence, which we'll be reading much of throughout this semester, he describes the scene in Australia as early European colonists begin to settle. And as the Aboriginal peoples observe from the outside the manner in which these colonists conducted themselves, they labeled them as, quote, future eaters, unquote. What they may have meant by this is that they observed the colonists taking far more from the land and not having systems in place for replenishing those resources that they were taking. And therefore they were eating or robbing themselves or their future generations of the balance and sustenance required for long-term colonization. Now, the history of colonization in Australia as well as in the rest of the world has played itself out in various ways that are well documented by both colonists and colonizers and colonized alike. What I want to do with this class and what I will ask you to do throughout this winter term is to begin to take the "and" seriously in the title of our class. Because we're dealing with the subject of post-colonialism and the environment. So we have a couple of different conversations that we both need to understand, but also need to do the creative work together to figure out how to put these two fields of study into conversation with one another. To understand post-colonialism, we are going to really need to dig in and do some work to understand what colonialism was, and to understand some of the nuances between post-colonialism as something that comes afterwards, but also post in the sense of or uncolonizing ourselves. And really that's the approach that I've always taken with my scholarship with respect to understanding issues of coloniality, is to understand not only those issues, but to understand what might it be to unpack those issues. Because me, as a white Western male in the United States, having benefited so much from the history of colonialism and what it has brought people from my demographic, right, I have a responsibility to, even if this responsibility will be different than people from different social locations. So understanding what that relationship is, what my responsibilities are therein, is really a part of this decolonial enterprise, right? But at the same time, we're talking about issues of environment. Environment being the place geographically in which we live, the place politically in which we live, economically in which we live, our dispositions to these places, right? Our environment itself, which we have great and enriching histories of eco-criticism, which is largely in the literary category, of ecofeminism, of so many other critical voices, and I mean that academically, critical voices helping us unpack our relationship to the world in which we inhabit, the world on which we inhabit, and within which we inhabit. So see what we can do throughout this term. Feel free to email me questions. I think I put my phone number on the syllabus, so that's there for you as well. It is my personal line. I do work 2 full-time jobs, and so I'm fairly strapped for time, but I always make it a priority to get back with my students as quickly as possible, especially when you have issues or concerns or need clarification or for whatever. Have a look through Canvas. You've probably been in this process with ILIF before in your online education, so some of it's going to be very new. For those things that, or some of this not going to be very new, sorry. For those things that are new, some of the requirements that I'm asking of you throughout this term, if my verbiage is convoluted at all, please feel free to contact me and let me know. I'm going to keep any intro videos short if I have any at all. Really, we're going to focus this whole term on what we're reading, some media that we'll be able to watch, and really the heart of what we're doing is going to be in our discussions in bringing that and into the center of focus between post-colonialism and the environment. So I look forward to engaging with you as we move from this point forward, and let's have at it. Thanks.